And now for our feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. You got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
The Senegal baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball advantage.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
All right, greetings and a good Friday morning, and welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online, and very proudly presented by Motley Rice. Causes not just cases, MotleyRice.com. Driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Find them in your next ride at StokesVW.com, and find us at JBandGoldwaterShow.com, where you can still register to win a $100 gift card from Three Seeds Wellness Studios in West Ashley here in the Low Country, but you better submit your name quickly. Going to announce some winners today as it pertains to that. All the winners this week. Coming up later on this morning, we've got Perry Orth, former quarterback at South Carolina. We're going to get his thoughts on Spencer Rattler, the 5-star top transfer quarterback out there who is now a Gamecock, signed, sealed, and delivered earlier this week alongside his tight end, Austin Stogner. Perry happens to be best friends with a pretty good tight end who played at South Carolina, a guy named Hayden Hurst. He went as Garnet Thor behind closed doors, well, I guess publicly as well. So we'll talk to him about that and some other things pertaining to Carolina football. Next on their plate, of course, are the North Carolina Tar Heels on December the 30th. That is a Thursday, just a little under 2 weeks away. We'll talk about Urban Meyer today, Dabo Sweeney, bowl games, because they're set to get going here in just a couple of hours. We've got some major news for Carolina Clemson basketball pertaining to that ball game tomorrow night. So it's only one guest today. It's a very conversational Friday here on our program. Let me just answer this question right off the rip before somebody asks the question. Why are you on the air at 10 o'clock when generally, always, you're on the air at noon? Well, because Darren has been kind enough to accommodate my travel schedule, because tonight my wife and I will be in Greenville for Eric Church. And so we're going to leave around noon to get up there and see a couple of friends and spend the afternoon with them, and then go watch the Chief tonight, which I haven't seen him in 3.5 years. So we certainly weren't going to miss this opportunity, and we've had tickets since April. So we've moved the show up, and then we'll be back Monday and Tuesday, and then that'll be it here in 2021. This is the final Friday of the year for Darren and I. Of course, you won't hear from us on Christmas Eve next week or New Year's Eve. So Tuesday will be our last day until January the 3rd. Just like we did last year, we're going to take some time with our families, like we hope all of you will as well. All that being said, what's up, brother?
I remember you talking about these Eric Church tickets from like the moment you bought them. So
yeah,
this is kind of a no-brainer when it's like, all right, we're gonna just reshuffle things here a little bit. I'm glad your wife's going with you. I'm glad you guys are gonna go have some fun. I've seen through social media. I don't know where he's been, but I have seen some of my friends have seen him on this tour and some other stops. So the pictures have looked great. They all seem to have fun. So I guess for all of you in that choir, I think that's what you call it, then you should hopefully have a great time.
Yeah, this is, this is everybody. We all have passions and stuff like that in life. We all have sports teams. But this is one of the things that has kept me a kid, because I still feel like a kid. I first saw Eric Church when he was Eric Church and the Mountain Boys back in 2004 in a little bar up in Spartanburg. And there was about 14 people in there, and nobody knew who he was. And I remember going, man, this cat's going to be pretty good. So we kept following along, and before you knew it, he was playing places like the Music Farm and the Country Club in Augusta, and just these small little clubs. And then he got a little bit bigger, and then a little bit bigger, and now he's the hottest thing in music out there in country music. So you feel like you help develop his career. I don't know. You feel like you had a hand in it. This is the 23rd time I've seen him. And so certainly looking forward to that. So I'm going to have a lot of fun. Tyler, what time is it? It's 10:05 a.m. No, I'm just kidding. The show tonight starts at 8 up there at the Well, which the last time I was at the Well was for Eric Church, which was May in 2017. But that was 2 months after the second to last time I was at the Well was when Gamecock basketball beat Duke. I was up there covering that regional there for the Marquette game and then the Duke game. And so I've got good memories of that ballpark and arena, I should say, and look forward to getting back in there tonight. All right, Darren, it's 10:06. It's time, as we do on Friday, for our 2-minute drill. In basketball, South Carolina and Clemson will play tomorrow night at 8 o'clock at Littlejohn Coliseum. Gamecocks, 6 players will not be in uniform due to injury or COVID. We know who one is, A.J. Wilson. I've heard some others, but not at liberty to say. So we'll find out tomorrow and how that will affect the South Carolina basketball program. This would be a big win underneath their belt, but certainly looking forward to seeing the Tigers and the Gamecocks square back up in this rivalry in the upstate. The College of Charleston fell to Stetson last night. Up next for them, they're in D.C. on Sunday against Rhode Island in the Events D.C. Holiday Hoops Festival. Charleston Southern, they fell to 3-7 with a loss last night against Tennessee State, 78-75. They've got the Citadel Classic beginning on Monday against Manhattan and then South Carolina State. The Citadel beat St. Andrews last night, so they're now 6-3 to start the season. South Carolina State is up for the Dogs on Monday, and then they will play Manhattan on Tuesday. Coastal Carolina beat Regent University. They'll play Sunday against Middle Tennessee State up in Murfreesboro. So that is what your state hoop schedule looks like. Bowl games beginning at noon today, Middle Tennessee State and Toledo on ESPN. And tonight at 6, it's the Tail Greeter Cure Bowl. 9-4 Northern Illinois, 10-2 Coastal Carolina. The Shots are 11-point favorites in the game. Mike Morgan will be on the call this evening at 6 o'clock on ESPN 2. Tomorrow it starts at 11 a.m. with App State and Western Kentucky kicking off a full slate of bowl games there that won't finish up until around midnight tomorrow night with Louisiana and Marshall. And that is your 2-minute drill.
I just Googled because I forgot last time. I think when we were on with Mike the last time we talked with him, he mentioned he was doing the Tail Greeter Cure Bowl, and I was trying to figure out what Tail Greeter was, and by the time I went to Google it, I didn't even remember the name Tail Greeter, so I didn't get around to it. But I'm now on the website connecting you with the best tailgates at every game. So that makes a lot of sense if you're called Tail Greeter, and it makes sense that they've tied themselves to a bowl.
So it's an app.
Well, it could be an app, but it is certainly a website as well. I just closed it out. But the premise of Tail Greeter is connecting fans to tailgates. So probably setting them up, probably once you're at the event, go find a tailgate, stuff like that.
All right. So Tail Greeter is an app.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just pulled it up. This is a brilliant marketing move by them.
Yeah.
So you can host tailgates and I see. Wow. I never even thought about it. Never thought about this in my life. I've never thought to charge somebody to come hang out with me. That's pretty funny. Maybe you and I should host some JB and Goldwater tailgates starting next football season and, put a little small tab on it just to help cover some funds and be able to meet a bunch of our friends here.
we could do it anytime, right? We could throw a tailgate for like lunch on a Wednesday if we wanted to, and you just come hang tailgate with us and we'll throw a TV up.
It's a brilliant idea. That's awesome. It's basically what it's basically doing. It's taking the place of like Venmo. Like, yeah, just Venmo me $20 and you can come on in.
Yeah.
It's basically now it's just one app it's a party app is what it is. All right. Never really thought about that.
I'd never heard of it until they attach themselves to this. See, marketing works if you do it the right way.
That's right. That's right. I was explaining that to somebody yesterday. I said, you got to understand what marketing is and how that all works. All right. Again, jbandgoldwatershow.com to register for a $100 gift card to Three Seeds Wellness Studios. Darren, let me go ahead and announce some winners here, and then we'll get into some sports. Fill up the Share Healthcare chat lines, boys and girls. Throw questions our way today. It's a day for you until Perry Orth gets here at 11:40. So anything that might be on your mind pertaining to the sports world we've been living in this week or whenever, pop it and make it a part of our discussion here on our program. All right, some unannounced. Let me just go back and announce all of the winners. I'm just going to start from day one. Here is who has won thus far. And all of these folks, some may not have received emails yet, but they have received winning emails. They may have not received their gift cards yet, but they will be. They will be probably here like pretty much now because I sent all of the official stuff over. All right, dating back to last week, Jordan Hort, Justin Cromer, and Robert Patterson all won $100 gift cards for their significant others, Chrissy, Courtney, and Laurel. So congratulations to all of them. This one was very random, and when I drew it, I felt bad because I know them, and y'all know them, but
why do you feel bad?
But there's nothing I could do about it because, they have this software that you use. It's all you do, and it literally picks a name. So congratulations to Drew Meyer's brother, Stephen Meyer, for winning a round of golf to Stono Ferry. Again, I know Drew and Stephen very well, but they won. So congratulations. Congratulations to Lily Wald because she won a $100 gift card to Three Seeds Wellness Studios. Those are all the winners last week. Now, starting this week, congratulations to Trey Walters, Zach Steinbaugh, Ren DeBose, and John Wilgus. They all are winners this week. Now, today's has not been drawn yet. That will be drawn here in just a little while. And their significant others, Katie, Olivia, Sophie, and Brittany will all be winners. But Ren DeBose, he actually won a Stono Ferry gift card. So those are gone. The golf rounds are gone. And then coming up today and tomorrow, Monday we'll announce today's winner. These are the two final gift cards to give away, $100 a piece to Three Seeds Wellness Studios. And then on Tuesday will be the grand prize, which is a gift basket to Three Seeds Wellness Studios, which does include a gift card in that. And then a couple of other items as well. I believe it's valued around $250. So there you go. Congratulations. It looks like all of the winners are women, and that includes my man, Stephen Meyer. No, I'm just kidding. With the exception of Stephen, everybody else, these ladies are going to enjoy some really neat stuff this time of the year.
Right on.
So congratulations to all of that. We just got a tweet from Tailgreeter, so that's cool.
I see. I got to go check that. Oh yeah, that's blowing up back there.
That's fantastic. All right. There you go. All right, 10:13 here on a 10:14 here on a Friday afternoon. Do want to start with Urban Meyer. We didn't get a chance to get to it yesterday. It's huge news in the sports world, Darren, and I think it's fair just to throw out the same questions that everybody's asking. Is Urban Meyer going to coach again, and if he does, where? I'll just start. My personal opinion is that he probably will coach again. Every time he says he's not going to, and every time something bad happens in his life, he's a cat. He's got 9 lives seemingly in coaching, no matter what happens. The issue though is, unless I maybe I missed something in the past, like at Utah or something like that, but certainly Florida, Ohio State, now Jacksonville, they all have come with heavy baggage when he has been in or out of those programs and organizations. So Darren, it's such a strange. This has been a really strange chain of events for Urban Meyer down in Jacksonville. It's been really, really strange. So there are some things that are, from the football side. Well, this guy, he just was not a fit for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people actually questioned that immediately when he got hired. But based on his success, and some owners over time have been willing to take chances on very successful college football coaches. This was a chance they were willing to take. So from the football standpoint, not a success. The one thing he got right was drafting Trevor Lawrence. Now off the field, the situation with the girl up in Ohio, booger move. Bad move. Personally, he's got to deal with that. There's some things this week, like a kicker accuses him of kicking him and saying to make his effing kicks or something like that. That didn't bother me. It's football. I mean, but this just wasn't a fit, and the NFL is not for him. And I saw J.C. Sherbert said something this morning about if he wants to coach again, he seems like a guy who's only interested in blue bloods. But I don't know if you're a blue blood that you could take a chance on this cat right now.
I don't think you'll ever see Urban Meyer coach again. I mean, there's always that give it time, it heals all wounds type of thing. But there's baggage and a trail, and the trail is now, it's just too long. The way he left Florida, that was a mess. The way he handled Ohio State at the end, that wasn't great either. I mean, the paper trails go back farther and farther. The kicking the kicker actually does bother me because it wasn't like a love tap. He kicked the dude. Why it came out now, I don't know, because just people are continuing to throw things out there because of how bad it is inside that locker room, trying to hold certain coaches to a different standard, players to a different standard than he carries himself. This wasn't going to work. I mean, there were reports as early as the very early stages, if not prior, of training camp, saying this guy doesn't really know what he's doing in the NFL. He can't manage these guys well. And then those reports grew. Part of that was the Tim Tebow charade, if you want to call it that. Then that grew with some instances within training camp. Then you get onto the field and you're an utter disaster offensively. And your future star, once in a generation quarterback, not only isn't playing well, he's not developing because everything around him is a disaster. This move happened too late. It should have happened sooner. And I just, there's just so much there now. And there's so much egg on his face is a light way to put it. He is now viewed as it's just a bad person. I don't think you're going to see him coach again because there isn't a brand that will take a risk and hire this guy. There's only so many times you can say, I've rehabbed my image. I'm good now. Okay. I've heard that before. And then I've seen you at stop A, B, C, and D. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree because I do think that the price of winning is extremely high at some program. I mean, there's going to be somebody out there who says, we're going to take a chance on this guy because he's going to bring instant impact to our program. I like Jamie Churchill's comment here on the Share Healthcare chat lines. I think he, like Petrino and Freeze, will have difficulties finding a Power 5 job. I agree with that. There's obviously Hugh Freeze is probably still one of the best coaches in the country, and he's been passed up. I mean, look at all these jobs that have come up in the last couple of years, and he can't get one. And Urban Meyer's done more than him. Now, Bobby Petrino had a rough run there too, and this cat is a total jerk, and he's coaching again, and so. I think the opportunity will be there. I don't know if he will because again, what JC said earlier, I put that in my repertoire. He seems like, I'm a blue blood guy. And if it's not a blue blood deal, I don't want it. He's an I'm better than you type of guy when it comes to jobs. So I think Darren, I personally believe, and I'm not saying tomorrow or next year or 2 years or something like that, but down the road, somebody will say, okay, and Urban's done this before. He's good at it. We all know this. He's good at rehabbing his image and looking like a sad puppy on TV. Somebody will say, that's good enough for me. Let's go get him and bring some cats in here and turn our football program around. And then whatever happens from there happens. So as far as some guys are just though best suited in college football. You know what I mean? Now this cat, he's there's two sides of that coin. One side is, can he win in college football? Yeah, he's one of the best to ever do it. There's no doubt. But now the conversation which is being had is, okay, but I don't know that he's a really good guy.
Yeah. I know. We all know if he's
right.
a good guy, and the answer is clear. The answer is no.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm not a big Urban Meyer fan. Haven't been for a long time. I wasn't a fan of his. I didn't really, Darren, ever divulge myself much into Urban Meyer himself. I knew that he had some transgressions in the past and some missteps and all those types of things. But when I really started digging in personally, is when he left Florida and when Will Muschamp got hired, and then when Will Muschamp got fired, and then when he got hired at South Carolina, I really looked into it even more, and I actually spoke to Coach Muschamp about this one time, just about what a train wreck it was. Like people I don't think understood at Florida on the outside looking in what Will Muschamp walked into down there. It was a disaster.
He left an absolute mess. I mean, a mess. That's why, rehab your image. That's great. Go on TV like a sad puppy. Be impressive when you're breaking down film and the X's and the O's, and impressive with your delivery on TV, because he's great on TV. But enough's enough. Because like you said, below a Power 5 job, okay, if that's where his options lie, Urban Meyer, it's not only I want the best of the best job. He believes not only that he deserves the best job, he believes he's better than everybody else around him. That's what his actions have said. I don't see him going below P5, and honestly, I don't think a level below P5 would have the money to get him, and I don't think they'd be attracted to him because they can't afford that PR hit, and they can't afford it if it goes wrong. I think we're done with Urban. We might see him on TV. That could happen, but I think we're done with him on the side.
Dude, Darren, you've been in TV for years. I think he'd have a much more difficult job landing a TV gig than a coaching gig at this point in time. You can't hire him in TV, right?
I don't know. Everyone does. Everyone rehabs back on TV. They hired him on TV the first time. They hired A-Rod on TV as he's reshaped his image that way. I mean, there's a role as an analyst. I don't think it's immediate. There's going to have to be some breathable time here. But in a year, 2, I can see. I think that's more likely than, because so it didn't work out as a coach. Okay. We put you back over here. There are some of those personal transgressions, but he can apologize for those. He can put those on the side. You can't risk putting him in a locker room. So I think it's more likely he ends up on TV.
The best thing for Urban Meyer is to take some time away from everything. Get out of it. Get out of it. Go away. You got plenty of money. I mean, dude's what's he worth, Darren? $100-something million. I mean, he's got more money than he knows what to do with. He needs to go buy a house somewhere in the middle of Montana and just get the hell out of everything. Figure out himself. Figure out his personal life. I saw his daughter was pretty outspoken about this, and I don't know much about his daughter. I believe her name is Gigi. If I was Urban Meyer, I'd say, look, Gigi, I appreciate it because that's what a lot of kids do. They want to defend their parents at all costs, but we're going to get away for a while. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, and you could go, the Aaron Hernandez. If anybody hadn't seen the Aaron Hernandez documentary, it will fill you in a lot about what was basically allowed under on Urban Meyer's watch. But I mean, it was always a win at all costs model for him. And you could again, I see Jamie here talking about the I think it was Jarvis Moss was his name back in 2006. Yes. He got popped for weed 3 times, should have been suspended, wasn't. He blocks 2 kicks of 3 that were blocked total by Florida in the game. That's how they beat South Carolina in 2006 down at the Swamp. Remember, they went to win the national championship that year.
Tim Tebow.
In his second season. And there's other information that's drifted out of the Swamp over the years of things that happened that year on Urban Meyer's watch, that it was like sweep it under the rug as long as nobody knows, we're going to be fine. Well, you know what happened, Darren? 15 years ago, and now is a lifetime of a difference because of the changes in technology. Like things that you could get away with back in even 06, you can't get away with now. So you could say things and you could accuse people, but there's a pretty good chance now that, of course, people do throw crap at walls all the time and it doesn't stick. But there's also a chance where a lot of the stuff that people like Urban Meyer do will now stick because it can actually be proven, whereas it couldn't be in the past.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nature of the beast that we live in is the social media world, is the fact that everybody has a voice. However important or impactful it is, everyone's got one. And if you actually have something to say, like, look over here, this is what Urban Meyer, the head coach of the University of Florida, is doing, people are going to look and see what's going on. And that stuff that flew under the radar then, there's no chance that it flies under the radar now. It can't. I mean, there's no way stuff like that can just be swept under the rug for an extended period of time. There are too many people out there with all you need is an axe to grind. All you need is a bad day and say, well, you know what? Here's how I'm getting back at you. Boom. You hit send and it's done.
Some out there think that the Jaguars might hit send on an invitation to Dabo Sweeney to come down and have a conversation about their head coaching job. We're going to talk about that next. We do need to hit a timeout. It's 10:26 on this Friday morning. Perry Orth is going to join us an hour or two, but up next we'll talk about Clemson, some of the heat that Dabo's taken this week, and why he should or shouldn't consider it an offer in the NFL if one comes. Hang tight. We'll be right back.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity finance to new loan, subject to lender approval.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work. And two others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
Motley Rice LLC is a law firm with international reach, but it hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for people harmed by products including asbestos and talc exposure, medical drugs and devices, and also catastrophic injuries and auto recalls, including dangerous Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. Visit motleyrice.com. Thank you, Motley Rice, for supporting the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
Okay, what's going on today, huh? Anything to talk about?
All right, greetings and a good Monday afternoon. Greetings and a good Tuesday afternoon. Greetings and a good Wednesday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, greetings and a good Thursday afternoon. Greetings and a good Friday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, 10:30, Friday morning. Welcome back, the JB and Goldwater Show. How can I help you? ihelpconsulting.com. Just spoke with somebody yesterday, somebody that I know personally, who literally was asking me the questions, actually asking me questions that I ask myself oftentimes about my business. And here's what I told her. You need to call Daniel Owens at iHelp Consulting. So she's doing that. She's going to call Daniel Owens, I think, sometime early next week. And hopefully he can get her on track because you know what she's trying to do? Save money. We all are. It's budget time for the following year. It's a horrible thing to have to do. Nobody likes it, but we have to go through it. Generally, you get to this point in the year, Darren and I have already talked about this week, and you go, dude, what's going on out there? How do we save money? How do we make more money? All those type things. You might be able to make more money without actually making more money, just saving it. iHelp Consulting. iHelpconsulting.com. Ask yourself that question. How can I help you? No fees up front. No. You pay out of the savings that they find. iHelpconsulting.com. All right, so I think one of the more ludicrous things I've heard this week is that Dabo Swinney should consider a coaching move to the NFL. Dabo Swinney is not going to the NFL. I think he would be, quite frankly, an idiot to even try to do that. He has got it made at the college level. He's an old school guy when it comes to how he wants things done. He's, I think, slowly adapting to the new school of the sport, as many out there are. The NFL is not something that he can control. Urban Meyer just found that. Now, don't misunderstand me. They're not in the same category of a human being, as far as I know. But no, Dabo Swinney, if you left Clemson to go anywhere, okay, you take another college gig or something like that. I know that everybody constantly questions him and what he says about his future and this, that, and the other, until there's something truthful, not just Twitter spat that says that he's really, truly interested in moving on to take another gig, more than likely in college football. I will never even mix myself up, Darren, in some of these conversations with him leaving Clemson because he has literally no reason to do that. That would just be dumb.
I used to think that there's absolutely no chance that Urban Meyer, that Dabo Swinney would go to the NFL. I used to think that, and I kind of laughed off any suggestion. Even when the Jaguars job was open, there were thoughts of, oh wait, this makes too much sense. Dabo to the Jags and bring Trevor with you, and I laughed that off. Now, I'm not as quick to dismiss it. I don't think it's going to happen. I laughed off the whole Raiders thing when the Gamecock fan base saw him in Gamecock or Tiger gear out at a Raiders game. Oh my God, he's going to the Raiders. Like,
and did no research as to why he was there.
No, it was like, right. No, he's supporting his guys. He's got friends out there, that type of thing.
Well, he had the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah, and that as well. I mean, it was a grand old time out there, and it's so worked out that he could go to the game. But it's not as though the game is the way it used to be at the college level. There are a lot of things about it that obviously frustrate him right now that he has to adapt to or will be left behind. I think he will adapt to it, but it's not, he's going to do it begrudgingly. So will these things add up to him thinking maybe it's time to move? We had these conversations with some of the older basketball coaches, with Roy Williams, with Coach K, guys who have been, now he hasn't been around it as long, but it's a similar conversation. With the way the game is changing, if you don't want to play the new game, then you'll be tired of it pretty quickly, and you're not going to want to be a part of it. I don't think he's a great fit in the NFL. Having said that, he's got the right name and the success to do it if he wants. And if that frustration boils up to a point, I no longer laugh off the notion. I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible.
I'm going to say it's impossible. No, I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm going to say it is like, I still think it would just be a ludicrously dumb move for Coach Swinney to do this. However, if I was dead wrong and he went to the NFL, I can tell you where it's not going to be. the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just went down this road by hiring a former college coach. Shad Khan, he's a pretty smart guy. All right. Now, he hadn't got his hires correct down there, but he's a pretty smart guy, and he does understand how to market. If you've been to the ballpark down there, been around it, I mean, he knows how to get people to talk about the franchise, but he hadn't made the right hire. He cannot hire another college football coach. He's got to hire an NFL guy. So if you hire an NFL guy, you either hire a proven NFL guy who's been around the block and is like, hey, look, I can get you into the conversation down here, or you hire the hot young stud. And I think somebody already put it in our Share Healthcare chat lines, and this is exactly where I was going. I don't know that you need to look too much further than right across the state, because that's where Byron Leftwich is with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks over there. You bring him over, and he's probably ready. Someone's going to hire him in the next couple of years anyways, and you let him take the reins and see what he does. If not, then it's got to be an experienced guy who's had some success in the NFL.
Him, Leftwich, I think is a great idea. That was Jamie Churchill who suggested that in our chat line. Eric Bieniemy is another one who will absolutely get consideration. He's been getting consideration for most of the last, 2-3 off seasons out in Kansas City. If you want to go that route, or like you said, someone with head coaching experience that you trust to come in and fix this thing. But the problem is, if you're an NFL coach that is currently unemployed, say I pick one, right? Like Jim Mora jumps to my mind just because he was just back in the news going to UConn. And I was thinking recently, man, I wonder if he wanted UConn, he kind of wants to get back in the game. Would the Jaguars have enticed him? But if it's an NFL coach who's out of the game, who has had success and wants back in the game, will you take that job? Because if you want back in the game, is that a winnable job? Is it a winnable franchise? Is it a winnable structure? Because if you go there and don't win, then you're done. You don't get a third chance. I like the Bieniemy Leftwich move. It wouldn't shock me if either one of them gets that job.
Yeah, you got a franchise quarterback down there. You gotta hire somebody that can protect this dude. I mean, that's why you drafted him. I mean, you're going to build this thing around Trevor Lawrence. I couldn't think of a better player right now to build your franchise around than Trevor Lawrence.
Oh yeah.
So they got to figure that out. I mean, and Dabo Swinney certainly has coached Trevor Lawrence before, but I mean, one of the NFL, Dabo Swinney is a quote unquote CEO where he is. Like he's not that's one of the things that concerns me about some of the hires that he's made. He's brought in some outstanding football coaches to make the difficult decisions on game day. And Coach Swinney has let them do their thing. Now he jumps in and does what he needs to do, but generally he's out there fighting for his team and things like that. Kind of how Shane Beamer has taken that approach as a young new head coach at South Carolina. Your approach is going to be a little bit different in the NFL, and I just don't know that that's Coach Swinney. I really don't. It wasn't Nick Saban. Nick Saban's the greatest coach in the history of college football, and it didn't work out for him in the NFL. Dabo, I think, is good for young men in college. I don't know that is going to be a fit for him at the pro level. All that being said, he's had some pro level comments thrown his way this week because as Coach Swinney has done from time to time, and in my time, I have not loved some of the things that Coach Dabo Swinney has said because it back in the day more so than now, as it pertained to the in-state rivalry, it was just childish. You go on 5-minute rants about who's the real USC and say that's message board crap. That's not for a head coach to get out there and stage. But he grew up a lot as a coach, and I do agree with a lot of the things that he says publicly about the sport. Now, sometimes maybe he says it and there's no context to it, so when you read it, you think that Dabo Swinney is just some grumpy guy who hates today's game of college football. And probably much to the chagrin of a lot of Gamecock fans right now, I'm actually going to defend him because I feel like he needs defending. What he said this week about tampering galore and stuff, total chaos, not wrong. It's true. Oh. I've got 3 firsthand accounts of it. I mean, I know it. He's spot on. Now, it's not new to college football, Darren. This has been going on for years behind the curtain. It's still quote unquote behind the curtain, but it's just a different type of tampering. So, he's not wrong. At the end of the day, I'm going to say this again. It's the third time we've talked about it this week. There needs to be some type of top-down structure in college football that can manage this junk, and there isn't one.
Yeah. The backlash he got for this was laughable to me. It was like, okay, this is like Nick Saban or Coach K. If you're not on the bandwagon, then you're just gonna, throw stones this way. They played an extended version of this actually this morning on Packer and Durham. If you just saw the headline or didn't read a very lengthy excerpt, I did not read the entire thing. It was lengthy enough that I didn't want to scroll through the entire thing on my phone. But do I think he's going to adapt? Yeah, I think he's going to go into the portal. He's aware that he needs to go into the portal. He just doesn't like how things are happening there. He's right. Everyone will agree, they should, that he's right and that this stuff is going on behind the scenes. It doesn't take a rocket scientist not to get behind the scenes from the surface to look at it and say, wonder if all that's kosher. If you can do that just from sitting here, then yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. You've got some firsthand accounts of it. We know it's going on. He's just speaking his mind, and then you add that to he never wants to go into the portal. He added to that again as well. He's like, look, there's a lot of guys who are in the portal. I don't know how many thousands right now. I think it's somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 at the moment. Yeah. But his point on the portal is also true. The majority of those guys aren't playing. The reason they're in the portal, the vast majority, because they weren't getting the playing time they wanted. And if they're not getting the playing time they want at whatever school, do they expect to go to one of the premier college football programs in the country and get playing time? So his point is, I got to be selective here and find the right guys who will fit, but he understands he's got to go into it, and he's got to wade into these waters that are just murky, gross, shark-infested waters that everyone else has to deal with. But he's got to deal with it too.
Yeah, he does. I mean, and he will. They are going to evolve up there. I mean, they don't have a choice. They're going to have to. They got 9 players in the portal right now, and not one signed. So, I mean, they're going to have to. They're going to have to figure that out. I mean, again, I maintain my stance, Darren. It's 2021. I'll bet you and I could have this conversation about the transfer portal itself in 3 years, and there's going to be a significantly less number of players that in it than there are right now. It's new, it's fresh. Everybody thinks that, okay, well, this isn't working out, I'm out of here. What's going to happen? You're a data guy. What's going to happen is there's going to be about 4 or 5 years worth of data at some point in time that shows that it's not always the best thing for young men and young women, whatever sport they're in, to just hop in the portal and move on and go do something else. Like, there's going to be data that supports that doesn't support that decision, and these schools are going to have it. So when a kid comes to you and says, well, I'm leaving, and here's why, they're going to be able to say, well, I just kind of want to give you a heads up. You got about a 1 in 5 chance of being picked up at a school that's on the same level as this one. And then they're going to go, well, you know what? Maybe I won't leave. I
think if you want to speed that process up, putting back some penalties to transferring would help, because at the moment it's so easy now that even with the data, I mean, I grew up and even still to this day, largely, you can tell me something's wrong and tell me doing it one way is the wrong way. I'll believe you when I do it that way and it didn't work. Okay, you're right. I've seen this for myself. If I'm an athlete who's at a big time program, I've probably been a stud my entire life. And if I'm not playing and I have the ability to just throw my name in the portal and maybe go play elsewhere, I probably have super high confidence in myself. If there's no penalty, even if there's data, even if a coach comes to me and says this won't work for you, I'm going to say, well, sure it will. I'm a 4-star. I ran for 4,500 yards last year in high school. Like, of course it's going to work for me. I'm going to go try. So until there's a penalty, until some of these rules are tightened up a little bit, I don't think we're going to see much of a dip in it.
Well, I mean, and look, to your point, I mean, people can laugh at this all they want to. I don't laugh at it. I'm an education guy. I think education's pretty valuable. What was wrong with Coach Sweeney when he says, quote, there's no consequences, there's no rules? You just said that. I'm all for transferring. I personally think we should let them go wherever they want. I just think they should sit a year, and then you get that year back upon graduation. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Somebody that says there's something wrong with that, I would totally disagree with you. It pushes them to get a degree. The stats are out there. It's absolutely proven that about 1% of these young men are going to go play in the NFL. Maybe it's a little more than that, but you do the math. It's not very many. So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I people who have thrown stones at him this week, that's a joke. You got to get a life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, and Coach Sweeney is a guy who understands that because, again, I'm defending him, and I know everybody knows what side of the border I'm on here when it comes to allegiance. But this isn't about that. This isn't about whether I like one team or like another, or whether you do or don't. This is about what is right and wrong for college athletics. And we're all going to have a little bit of a differing opinion, and that's okay. That's why you talk about it and don't tell somebody they're wrong when their opinion is different. So I don't think that Coach Sweeney's opinion on this is wrong. He wasn't going anywhere as a college football player. Matter of fact, he wasn't even a coach. He was in real estate. That's what he thought he was going to have to do the rest of his life. And then he got back into it. So from drawing from his own personal experience, he's developed his own personal opinion, and I don't see any problem with that.
I think it doesn't bother me that you can go and have immediate eligibility if we're going to change the rules. It does not bother me if you do that. If your coach leaves, then there can be amendments to the rule. There can be hard and fast rules of going back to the way it used to be. Go ahead and transfer. If you're going D1 to D1 or, above FCS, then you're sitting out a year unless X, Y, and Z, unless your coach leaves. There's already the hardship stuff that's in there. That way it combats the ability, because there's no rules for coaches. We've seen that year in and year out. If a coach can jump, it's fair that a player can jump. But to curb it, the player can jump if the coach jumps. And maybe that's the way it goes. Or I don't know. I don't know if there will be a change or what will spark that change. I mean, I could also see it kind of living on the way it is for a few years at least.
You know what would change a lot of this. So with coaches, and this is a lot of people forget about this, but there's always a financial side of it. So there's buyouts, and again, oftentimes those buyouts are paid by their next institution, as we know. Sometimes the coach has to pay them themselves. All the contracts are a little bit different, but if you tie in a financial incentive or a financial repercussion or penalty, like if you leave before this time in your you're a freshman at South Carolina and you leave before you're a junior, you're going to have to give back a year's worth of scholarship money that we've given you, something like that. Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there that don't like that. That's fine. But I mean, with coaches, they have buyouts, and if they leave before the end of their contract, they have to pay back that school X number of dollars, or maybe it's half the tuition or whatever it is. So there would be something in there, maybe unless the school that you're going to commit to says, well, we'll pay that for you. So we could have these conversations. Again, somebody's going to disagree with that, and that's fine. That's fine. I get it. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer. All I'm saying is that Coach Sweeney and what he said this week, the heat that he took, I don't think it was deserved. And I do think that there needs to be some type of structure out there that can figure out a way to corral all of this, because we are just in Never Never Land. Nobody really knows where we're going.
I think the only way to curb the portal and the issues with it would be to do that. But I do agree with Tim Frisbee, who commented, through Twitter here. He's like, why should there be, just paraphrasing here, why should there be any type of penalty? A one-time transfer should be afforded to players. The way it is right now, that is the way it is. I don't think it's going to change. I don't think there will be enough support to change that, or maybe the better way to put it, I think there'll be enough backlash to the supporting the players, saying you can't do that. If coaches can jump, don't throw these rules on the players. That's why I don't know if this thing curbs anytime soon, because I just don't see restricting athletes' rights. That's a fine way to put it for this conversation and in the bigger picture, because that's how it will be framed. I don't think restricting that is going to gain much traction at all in the next couple of years.
No, I mean, there's going to have to be middle ground in there somewhere. But I'm with you. I mean, Right now the pendulum is swung all the way to the other side. Most athletes didn't really have. I mean, they had plenty of rights and opportunities, but they didn't have as much freedom as they have now. Clearly, to be able to control what they can and can't control.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point in time, the pendulum will probably shift back a little bit, and then they hopefully will find some level meeting ground, which will be great for everybody. This side's going to probably still want more, and this side's going to want more, but they'll be at least happy with something that they have that is, fairly satisfactory to everybody. I do want to point this out, Darren. There was I just happened to see this earlier, and I just, when I say things like, when I poke fun at national media and stuff like that, it comes off pretty sad and snooty, and I know that, and I do apologize. I also, though, there's a side of it where guys like you and myself and the Post and Courier guys and the guys in the upstate at TigerNet and the Gamecock Central guys, we follow this state pretty closely. I mean, we know what's going on, and so when you see national media guys write columns that just aren't true, it just drives me insane, because I'm like, man, look, I get it. From your desk in Washington, you can have a hot take. That's your job. But at least put some truth in there, do some of that. And so this guy named Barry Savluga, I don't know who he is.
Flaruga.
Okay.
Careful here. He's one of the best writers in the country and one of my favorites.
Sure. Okay.
I don't even know what article you're referencing here.
It's a column he's got out today. College football's new orders take power from coaches. They aren't handling it well. And he basically scolds Coach Sweeney in here, amongst others. There's some other coaches that he's got in here, but here's where he's just dead wrong. I mean, obviously this guy has never done anything in college football. Quote, "Here's an idea, guys. Why not make it incumbent upon you and your staff to provide an environment in which players don't want to leave?" That's impossible. You cannot control the minds of 100 guys in your program. And he's talking about this right after referencing Coach Sweeney, the quote I already read about sitting year, then you get it back after graduation. He goes on to say, is there entitlement in some corners of the world? Absolutely. Are there going to be athletes who leave because playing time is immediately available elsewhere and kids are impatient? No doubt. But the answer isn't returning to the way it was. The answer is for coaches to develop methods to keep their programs as stable as possible and calmly navigate new terrain. That is all hogwash as it pertains to what Clemson has done for the last 10 years. They have never had transfers like this, and these transfers and decommitments are because of the coaches that have left their program. That's why they have been as stable as any program in college football, and that's a joke. I mean, if he's writing that, because he goes on to say, who has it right? Nick Saban. Well, Nick Saban has coaches that leave every year, more than Clemson. They have just as many transfers every single year, more than Clemson, except for this year thus far. Only 5 less than the Tigers. And why? Because they're number 1 and playing for a national championship. There's guys who want rings. So, you can't throw stone. That's not true. Everything in that paragraph by this guy, who, as great as a writer as he might be, Darren, isn't true. Clemson, to their credit, they could look at all these players that have been coming back year after year after year, and we're going, why aren't they going to the NFL? They still go to the NFL as first rounders and get the job done. So that's just false. That's a falsehood. People, when they read that, need to understand that's not true.
I'll read the whole article before I make a judgment on a paragraph. Barry Flaruga is, remember we had a conversation with Gene Sapikoff when Thomas Boswell announced he was retiring from the Washington Post, and Sapikoff, in his memory of him, remembered sitting next to him, I think, covering the World Series, and was basically going deep into the type of writer, personality, giant figure in the sports writing world that Thomas Boswell is. Flaruga has been behind him and now filling his shoes, and has been behind him for decades at this point. And is respected as much as Boswell. So while you might not agree with an opinion, throwing stones right back at it is something I never, ever do. I mean, I don't read something and toss a stone at someone for writing something. It's an opinion. That's fine. I'll read that whole article. He I might disagree with him. He might be wrong in certain aspects of the article, but it's hard to tell in hearing a paragraph of the article, especially with my background of having read one of his books and I don't know how many of his articles.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's I just don't understand how he can. Again, he didn't say here's an idea, Clemson, but clearly it's it's immediately following Sweeney's quote. So obviously that's what he's talking about. And it's just not true. I mean, he just a tad bit of research would show you the last 10 years under Coach Sweeney.
Yeah, that's not a fair thing. Like, he researches stuff. So
yeah, but he didn't research that. Like, that's not an opinion. It's false.
Well, he's formed an opinion based on work that he's done. So to say I'll do some research, he's done research. I assure you.
Yeah, but on Clemson,
I assure you he has. Yeah, he's a national guy.
What about
only in Washington?
Did
you look? If you don't agree with it, that's cool. But I promise you, he did his work before doing this and forming an opinion.
Well, but he's also wrong about Nick Saban. Nick Saban has coaches and players that leave the program every single year, and what he just said above that was create an environment in which players don't want to leave. Alabama has 4 players in the transfer portal and more coaches that'll leave this year. How is that?
Well, coaches,
it's false.
Coaches leave all the time. It's hard. You reading that, it's impossible to gauge the parameter in which it was said. I mean,
he's saying that Nick Saban has it exactly right, and he does quote Coach Saban. Basically, what I try to do is adapt to whatever the circumstance and whatever the situation that we have. And then he goes on to say, "What an idea! Read, react, and adapt. No wonder Saban has 7 national championships."
Yeah,
well, that's all true.
It's right. I mean, ideally, that is the culture you want, and if you have that culture, you'll have less guys leave. It's not like you can close your walls in and no one's going to leave.
Well, that's what he's implying here.
Look, he knows that's not possible. Of course, it's not possible. It's a suggestion of saying if that's the goal, and if that's the goal with Nick Saban. There was a fabulous article in The Athletic last week, about Nick Saban's recruiting pitch, how it has stayed the same and changed, tweaked over the years, going way, way back to his time, even before Michigan State, I think. And it's all about, it's not a 4-year thing, it's a 40-year thing, it's a culture thing. So yeah, players transfer, of course they do, but if you can build the culture and everything within the walls, very much like what Clemson has done, then you can minimize that. Can you shut it off completely? No, you can't shut it off completely, but maybe he's frustrated with the transfer portal. I mean, he's not dead wrong. It's an opinion piece.
Yeah, I thoroughly disagree.
And I assure you he's done tons of research on it.
Well, I'm just saying I don't care how great of a writer he is. I mean, I could care less about that. I mean, that doesn't bother me at all. I know people that are great at what they do that screw up every day. And I read this whole thing and I thought, well, who is this guy to sit here and try to tell college football coaches exactly how to run their program like he knows what he's doing? He's inferring that Clemson and Alabama, Clemson has less people leave every year than Alabama does. Alabama has more. He's got it backwards in this column with what he's implying. And it's incorrect. I'm not saying he's a bad writer. I'm just saying this. You cannot throw stones at Dabo Sweeney with what he has proven he has done in that program. Whether I like it or not, whether he's convinced a guy to stay and he probably should have gone to the NFL, we can argue about that all we want to, which I argue a lot the other side of that. I think there's multiple guys in that program who should have left after junior years instead of senior years and stuff like that. But that's for another day. Fact of the matter is Coach Sweeney got it right. If this guy, what he's writing, says this is how you need to do it, Coach Sweeney has done it. He just doesn't like the fact that Coach Sweeney spoke up this week. He didn't like that. So he put that in his piece.
And that's cool. I don't agree. Look, I've already said, I think the reaction on the negative side to Sweeney is a little crazy. Like, he's got to go into the portal. He understands he's got to go into the portal, even though it's messy ground. And like we've been talking about, is there a way to clean it up? I haven't obviously read this thing. You could disagree with an opinion piece all you want. It's like when people, same exact thing.
Yeah.
Everybody hates it a little while ago. Right. Everybody hates Gene Sapakoff because, Sapakoff hates Clemson. Sapakoff hates Carolina. Sapakoff hates the Citadel. No, he doesn't. He's got a job to do, and he finds opinions, ones he believes in. He doesn't just make them up out of thin air, and he writes them. But he does his work. So does Flaruga. So does the other guy. Almost all of these other guys, they do their work. You can disagree with an opinion, but I wouldn't go slandering out there and say, oh, do your homework, do your work. I know for a fact that he does his work.
Yeah, it just didn't come across that way in that column. I read it twice, and I was like, wow, man, you got this. You got it backwards. You gotta fix that. But that's for another day now, and maybe for another hour. That's what you got us for. It's 11 o'clock. It's time to hit our final timeout of the work week. When we return, bowl season begins. What games will we be paying attention to? Darren's a big bettor, right? He heads to my bookie every day, throws $5 here, 5,000. I'm just kidding.
By the way, Charleston Southern with a mean backdoor cover. They were 3.5 point underdogs. They lose by 3.
He'll be fine, everybody. It's the weekend. He'll be
3.5. All you needed was just one more free throw and lose by 4. No, you lose by 3.
Bowl season begins. We'll get into some Carolina stuff. Frank Martin stepping into the podium here just a second. I'll pop in there as well and see what he's got to say about the 6 players out tomorrow against Clemson. Perry Orth is still ahead. So whatever's on your mind, plug it in right here on the JB and Goldwater Show. Very proudly presented by Motley Rice. Right here in our backyard is Motley Rice LLC, a law firm that hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for South Carolinians who were injured while traveling by plane or bus, harmed by medical drugs and devices, or burdened by dangerous auto recalls, including Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. We are honored to have Motley Rice as a sponsor for the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risk their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work, and 2 others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the Links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Lowcountry. Our back 9 is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The Links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf teams. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Roberts, owner of 3 Seeds Wellness Studios. And just like being in your favorite ballpark feels like home, our studio feels like home to our clients. We offer over 20 different services to help our guests cultivate, nourish, and grow their bodies and minds. Centrally located in the heart of West Ashley, we offer massages, facials, acupuncture, yoga classes, and everything in between, helping you become that you want to be. A complete list of services are available online, and gift cards are available both online and for curbside pickup. Go to 3seedswellnessstudios.com. Happy holidays.
Hi, I'm Chris Half, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Clamagore, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater Show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the National Anthem.
JB Goldwater Show. Live, loud, and online.
Okay, final 55 minutes of our Friday morning, 11:00 now 6, here on the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Find them at stokesvw.com. JB and Darren, early today because of my my entertainment schedule. We're headed to Greenville for Eric Church tonight to go see the Chief, and so Darren said, "Yeah, I'll get up early." He gets up before 10 o'clock. Don't worry. Matter of fact, I usually have a text from Darren by about 7:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm up at 6:30. Typically, there's been a nice routine of wake up, take the daughter to school, do prep work, go to the gym. The gym fell off a little because I busted my ankle and my shoulder, but that begins again tomorrow. But I'm still up and doing work and messing around by like 6:30.
Yeah. Well, that's how we are. These little kids, they don't let you sleep for nothing. Send us your comments, the Share Healthcare chat lines, and we will make them a part of our program. Let's lead off here with the Gamecocks. First and foremost, Shane Beamer has sent out a welcome home tweet. So if we can gather some information that we can pass along, we will certainly do that. I will say that probably won't know who this young man is today. I don't really know how else to say this, but it'll probably be a little while. How about that? Probably be a little while. And if something changes, I know I'm throwing a lot of ofs in here. I'm just trying to figure out how to say this, but if something changes, this young man will change that himself, hopefully. But the Gamecocks still out recruiting nonetheless, and they have another one in the books. There's the signing day resume for South Carolina, brought to you by Post Up Careers, 22nd nationally. This is the overall. This is the overall resume. And folks, this is going to change. This isn't over. The signing period goes through February. Everybody's forgotten that. Everybody gets all amped up and pissed off and excited in December, and they forget, hey man, you know, there's kids that actually still get to do this in February. So a lot's going to change here, Darren.
In fact, it changed today. The transfer class was number 10 as of yesterday, and this morning I checked again, it was number 11. So I said yesterday in the little promotional thing that we're out early today that we'll show the post-up career resume, and showed it and said it could change. It did. I think maybe one of the movement there was Dylan Gabriel committing to UCLA. I'm not positive what forced that movement, but it was just bumped down one. And it'll continue to change because is this the first time a signing day has been a period and it's been 3 days? It just feels weird. But yeah, it'll continue to evolve, and then it'll evolve again as you get into the later signing periods.
Yeah. I feel like the last couple of years it's been a 3-day period, right? Am I wrong about that?
I'm not sure. It feels different to me. But again, this isn't like my Bible like it is other people following recruiting. So it just It struck me differently this year, but it doesn't mean it's completely wrong. By the way, if your career is completely wrong, and if it is striking you differently, and you want a better career, then there's no better time to check out Post Up Careers and Franklin Buchanan. He can get your LinkedIn page optimized so that recruiters find you. He'll update that resume. He's actually got a series out on LinkedIn about resume writing going on right now. postupcareers.com. He's got NIL deals with Carolina athletes. He's a Carolina guy. So look, if you like your career, if you want to enhance your career, if you want to change your career, Post Up Careers.
While we're on this note, if you've got jacked up teeth and you need some teeth whitening, it'd be 3 Seeds Wellness Studios in West Ashley. Or if you just don't want to tell your wife or your husband, good Lord, we need to polish those suckers up, just give them a gift card to 3 Seeds Wellness Studios in West Ashley, and they'll help you out there. They'll help you out. Again, if there's anything else we can pass along with the commitment, we'll do it. But it's at this point in time, it's not in our hands. But nonetheless, South Carolina is still heating it up out there on the recruiting trail. All right, so I've got kind of keeping an eye on Frank's press conference right now. It's a Zoom press conference today. Frank did, right before we came back on the air here, lead it off with, quote, "Here we go again, man. COVID, you've got to love it." And last year, of course, this basketball team was ravaged with COVID issues, and going into the biggest game of the season now, they are once again. I mean, Darren, I think, I'll make sure I'm right about this. The net rankings for Clemson, I think they're at 67. So they're 67. So for South Carolina, if they went on the road and won the game, that would be a quad 1 win, because away is 1 through 75. The Gamecocks are I think they've snuck in the top 100, right?
I've not checked the net in the last couple of days.
Oh, no, that can't be.
I can tell you.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that's right. They're 108. They're 99 in KenPom.
Okay.
So they're 108. So for Clemson, you're talking about for Clemson, this is only a quad 3 win, because South Carolina is 108 if they win the game. Quad 3 win is 76 to 160 in the net range.
Okay. Yep. I know that the early line that I saw, it's not an official line, and I don't know if it was taking into account the COVID issues that are within the Carolina program. I think you just pointed it out. Frank Martin said, as of now, we're getting on the bus. They tested this morning. They expect the results back in a couple of hours. As of now, getting on the bus, planning to play. Of course, who knows what happens after that. COVID's become an issue all over sports right now. If you've been sleeping under a rock, it's forcing postponements, cancellations, changes across the sports landscape. But as of this morning, the early line that I did see was Clemson by about 6. That's not an official line or anything like that, and I don't know how it would change, but I think that's where you can expect it, that it'd be in that handful of points range. Well,
I think what's important right now for this conversation is for fans to understand that there's actually a real possibility that they would have to call the game off at this point in time. There's a chance that could happen because Carolina is already down 6 players. Now, included in that 6 is Jermaine Couisnard. Frank said that there was 1 player that tested positive, then it was up to 3, and then it was up to 4. And so now they've got 4 guys who've tested positive, and they've got 2 injuries. We don't know who the positives are necessarily. I've heard some things, but I can't prove that, and I can't say it. So, but AJ Wilson and Jermaine Couisnard, we do know, are injured. So you could speculate a bunch from there. I mean, there's only so many players on a basketball team, but and you're probably going to get a couple of them right. But point is, right now, as it pertains to South Carolina, they are really shorthanded going to Clemson, and this is going to be a tall task to win the game without 6 players. It's been a tough task the last week or so without Jermaine Couisnard, but they've been able to get it done. So we'll just have to find out who those other guys are. And as you just said, Darren, they're expected to get the results back between about 2:30 and 3 o'clock today, or between 2 and 3 o'clock. And they're supposed to be on the bus shortly after that to head to Clemson. Again, the game's tomorrow, but they will have their shoot-arounds and stuff later on this evening. So this is going to be really quick. Like they're going to know, and then, okay, we're clear or we're not clear. We're staying home. But he says him and Coach Brownell have not, to this point, discussed canceling the game.
I think there was a comment from Brownell out there as well. Like, I'm aware of something going on, but, don't know all of the details. What's a shame here is that Carolina's won 3 straight. Carolina has been trending up, and the issues we've talked about with inconsistency kind of ironing out, at least from a 40-minute perspective. I mean, there's less of the inconsistencies that we've seen that are in there. And this is an opportunity for a good win and a resume-building win. And if the game does not happen, or if the game happens and you're so shorthanded that it's like a scout team running out there against Clemson, it's an unfortunate break for South Carolina. You need all the resume builders that you can get. And what you're seeing around the country right now with the games that are being canceled, a lot of them are not being made up. And this game probably, maybe there's a slot in the schedule, but you're about to hit Christmas break, then you're into the teeth of conference schedule. I don't know if there's a time for it to be made up. There's no guarantee that it could or would be. So if you lose this game, it's an unfortunate loss. Not lose like you lose in points, but don't play the game. It stinks for Carolina because it's an opportunity for a good resume building win.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and assume that there is no chance that they're going to make this game up if they don't play it. So we'll just have to kind of see. But there's going to, first of all, you're going to have some COVID protocols moving forward because of positives in your locker room. Next up is Army on the 22nd. And then you've got SC State on the 29th. You turn around and play Auburn on the 4th. I mean, there's literally that's just the South Carolina side of it. You have to look at Clemson and when they can and can't do something as well. And I'm trying to pull up their schedule here. I know this isn't the greatest radio of all time, but they got Virginia coming up on the 22nd. Duke.
Yeah. I mean, once you're into the teeth of conference play, you're not turning back around and adding a game in there. I mean, that's no coach is going to do that. So it'd be very, very unlikely that this game is made up. And if you don't play it, I think it's worse for Carolina if the game isn't played. I mean, sure, you could lose the game and that wouldn't be ideal either, but it's an opportunity to win and you're playing well and it's a resume building win. It's an opportunity you want to have.
No question. They need to keep winning here in the non-con. Darren, let's take a quick timeout. We do have Perry Orth ahead at 11:40. Going to take an early timeout here so I can do some research on a couple of things. That's cool.
We can do it.
And then we'll be right back on the JB and Goldwater Show. Hopefully, you won't ever need legal help for a catastrophic injury or health issues from a medical drug or device. But if you or a loved one suffers injury or loss, Motley Rice LLC is a nationally recognized law firm that is right here in Mount Pleasant at 28 Ridgeside Boulevard. Thank you, Motley Rice, for sponsoring the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show. Visit motleyrice.com for more. motleyrice.com.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right. We take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity finance to new loan, subject to lender approval.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor, Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
All right, guys and gals, we all know it's the holiday season and you've opened up your playbook for gift giving. Don't dig too deep because I have the perfect stocking stuffer for your favorite teammate. Gift cards and baskets from 3 Seeds Wellness Studios in West Ashland. Luckily, my wife doesn't listen to our show or she would know what Santa's delivering from the North Pole. Check out 3seedswellnessstudios.com for gift cards and their retail store and have their elves stuff a gift basket full of holiday magic. 3 Seeds Wellness Studios, 3seedswellnessstudios.com to score this holiday season.
What's up, everybody? This is South Carolina singer-songwriter Patrick Davis, and I might live in Nashville, Tennessee now, but guess what? I can always keep up with the news back in South Carolina because I've got the JB and Goldwater Show. Thank you, JB and Darren, for being live, loud, and awesome.
All right. 11:20. Welcome back to the JB and Goldwater Show. Very proudly presented by Motley Rice and driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Perry Orth will be joining us coming up here in about 20 minutes on our program. That'll take us to the top of the hour, and Darren and I will be off until Monday, and then after Tuesday, we'll be off until January the 3rd. All right, so wanted to kind of check into some things here while we were in break to kind of pass along as much as we can do. As it pertains to the basketball team, I'm told one of the players who tested positive, who did not test positive as of now that they know, was Keyshawn Bryant. So he's able to play tomorrow night for South Carolina, and so we'll kind of keep our eyes there. But he's certainly one of the superstars that we if you're a Gamecock fan, you want to see in the game. The other is it pertains to this commitment for South Carolina. Again, can't say anything, but this is certainly a surprise for South Carolina, and Gamecock fans, they're going to be pretty thrilled. I think the reporting's already out there that from Gamecock Central and from the Big Spur that this young man is going to announce his decision publicly in January. And this is certainly a surprise for South Carolina. So that will be pretty good news as it pertains to the class. How about that, Darren?
More good news, right? I mean, you've had the success overall of Shane Beamer and what you had on the defensive side of the ball. You had the success from Rattler and Stogner coming over. If this is something that was unexpected, I don't know any of the details, but as you're saying, it'd be a surprise. So unexpected would be fair. And obviously Beamer was excited about it because he also hashtagged along with welcome home, you thought we were done, or what you thought we were done, or something like that. So, so it seems inside the building, they're pretty jacked up about it. So it's continued positive momentum, and you've got the little dead period and then more momentum when it actually gets announced. A lot of this stuff, sometimes it's on the college time frame, sometimes it's on the kids time frame, but if you can make it work that you keep your name in the news, that's a better thing.
Yeah, it's this is going to keep their name in the news, that's for sure. And the latest intel that I have, I'm not a recruiting expert. I defer all of you always to the guys at the Big Spur and at Gamecock Central. They are just super with what they do in covering Carolina recruiting. But luckily, we all sometimes, Darren, have sources here and there, additional info that at least I've received over the last 24 hours says that not only are they not done, they're not done with some big names out there, and could be even more good times to come here before February for South Carolina football. Maybe here in the next week or so, maybe even less than that. So we'll just kind of see what that looks like. But right now, it is certainly good news for Gamecock football. All right, today bowl games start. If you haven't peeked at the schedule, we're going to peek at it for you. Darren has already bet on all 42 games coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So his wife's going to either divorce him or keep him around for a while. I'm just kidding. At noon, in about a half hour, Middle Tennessee State and Toledo. It's Rick Stockstill. The Rockets 10.5-point favorites there. Northern Illinois and Coastal tonight at 6 on ESPN2. Mike Morgan's got the call in that one from Exploria Stadium in Orlando, Florida. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., Western Kentucky and App State. I don't know if Western Kentucky, if that left tackle who entered the portal for them is actually playing in the game or not. That's probably something to look into. But that young man is an All-American, and from what I understand, South Carolina is at least in the mix there.
I doubt it. I mean, like with everything else, right? I mean, if you're in the portal, it doesn't help you to play, especially if you're one of the most highly sought-after offensive linemen. What are you going to do improving your stock if you go play in that game? I don't know. I don't know for a fact. Also, a pro tip: don't bet bowl games early. So I have not bet any of them because you have no idea who's going to be playing in the games.
Yeah, you better wait up till almost a minute of the game and see. Yeah, I agree with you. Totally agree. They've got App State there. They're 3-point favorites in the game. The Mountaineers are. UTEP and Fresno State at 2:15 tomorrow on ESPN. UAB and BYU at 3:30 on ABC. That could be a pretty good game. Bill, I'm surprised. I'm still surprised that Bill Clark at UAB is still at UAB. This cat didn't leave when they shut the program down, and then they bring it back. He turned the whole thing around. They've won 8 games this year. How is this dude not on higher radar or on different radars out there, Darren? I don't get it.
No, his name doesn't come up, and he has done a great job. I don't know. I've never spoken to him, so I don't know what his mindset is about it. I mean, they built the new stadium down there for him as well. The fact that he resurrected the program after it was dead for an entire year, he's done a hell of a job. But no, his name isn't one that generally pops up.
No, it's not. There are some interesting games tomorrow. I mean, that one is one. Eastern Michigan and Liberty at 5:45 on ESPN. ABC tomorrow night has Utah State and Oregon State at 7:30, and then I'll tell you what, 9:15 is got a good one with 23rd ranked Louisiana without though Billy Napier and Marshall, who is 7-5. The Cajuns are a 4-point favorite, so in that game. But coming down the list, the first SEC team we're going to see play is on next Wednesday, the 22nd, that night on ESPN. You got Missouri and Army. Missouri won 6 games this year, and they better be very careful because Army, if I had to predict it today, is probably going to beat them in that game at 8-4. Even though they lost to Navy, you just don't see those triple option type teams a lot, and they can cause some trouble. But I'll tell you, it's hard to not circle it, Darren, on Thursday night, the 23rd at 7 o'clock, right? UCF and Florida. And I'll bet some money that our old pal from Channel 4, Mr. Blackstone.
Yeah.
Darren Blackstone. No, I'm just kidding. I'll bet you he'll be covering that game in the Gasparilla Bowl. But Florida's a 6.5-point favorite there. And I'm really interested to see what happens in this game. UCF, by the way, is being rumored to land Bo Nix. Why? Because Gus Malzahn is the head coach.
And because Gabriel went into the portal. So they're looking for a quarterback. I mean, the portal rankings, Rattler's the highest name. 24/7 actually had Gabriel above Rattler. And then they had a transfer from FCS, Whitewater. UIW. I hadn't even heard of him. But
White. You talking about the school, Whitewater? I thought you meant the last name.
Yeah.
UW Whitewater.
Yeah. So they had him number 1. I'd never even heard of him, but Gabriel just announced that he's heading out to UCLA. So that'd be a good soft landing spot for Bo Nix to just slide on over to go to his old coach.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it'd be a perfect fit for him to go down there. There's talk out there that Lane Kiffin has been in touch to bring him into Oxford as well. I don't know. You almost feel like if you're Bo Nix, you've been in the West for 3 years. You're going to transfer. Orlando sounds good.
To go hang out.
Yeah.
If I'm Bo Nix, I'm going where I know I'm going to play, and maybe I can be more consistent than I've been to give myself a shot at the NFL.
Yeah.
Central Florida could be that because the competition won't be week in and week out the same as it would be in the SEC. You can look a little bit better. Your film can be a little bit better.
I totally agree. And you play for a guy that you know. Yeah, I absolutely 1,000% agree with that. The 27th, Darren, that Monday, you got Boston College and East Carolina. It's a great opportunity for Mike Houston, who they're 3-point dogs in the game, but to get the Pirates to 8 wins this year, and he will continue to probably climb coaching rosters over in the end of the offseason as a guy to keep an eye on in 2022, what they look like. And by the way, if they're able to beat Boston College and get to 8-5, what a hindsight win that would look like for South Carolina, actually going in there and winning the game, the second game of the season, new head coach, everything that went wrong that day, but they somehow got out of there with a win against a team that turned around and won 8 games this year and capped it off with a victory over a middle of the road Boston College team. Probably would have been better had they had a healthy quarterback all season long, but nonetheless, they would have one of those 5 losses to an 8-win team would have been against South Carolina. It'd be a nice feather in the cap for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about them now for a while. So I mean, it would improve, since we're talking resume and basketball. It would improve the overall resume. It's still, to me, though, with these bowl games, it's just there are so many unknowns. It's hard to judge. I never get into this conference is better than that conference because they had a better bowl season. Like, well, who played? Who cared about playing and actually did play, even though they didn't care because there's absolutely no motivation to go play. But yeah, I mean, huge big picture, it'd be nice if a team that's on your resume as having beaten has 8 wins. It's always a better thing.
I would agree with that. Many others to keep an eye on out there, certainly. But Darren, I'll just kind of throw these to the wind. We'll take one more quick final timeout. As long as that's okay with you, and then we'll get Perry Orth in around 11:40. But games being played in December: Houston and Auburn in the Birmingham Bowl on the 28th. Auburn is a favorite in the game at 6-6 over 11-2 Houston, ranked 20th in the country. I don't know if that's basically because it's home field advantage. I don't know how many Auburn fans can't wait to get into Birmingham. I think they generally have higher aspirations than that, but it is in the state of Alabama, so I assume War Eagle will be well represented. And then, Mississippi State, Texas Tech, UCLA, and NC State is intriguing to me. That game, what's intriguing about that game, Darren, is they're playing it at Petco in San Diego in the baseball stadium. The Wolfpack are 1-point favorites over your UCLA, and I know, they're 9-3. Well, UCLA is 8-4. I'm a little. I thought that'd be the other way, probably by 4 or 5 points. I thought UCLA would be a 4 or 5 point favorite in the game. I don't understand. You're a betting guy. Why is that?
I didn't see much of Nevada this year, so it's hard to say. And again, factored into this could be who is and who isn't playing. UCLA obviously underperformed this year. There was a lot of buzz around them, and more buzz when they beat LSU to begin the year. But they were never hot on Vegas boards. I mean, there was never any big momentum for UCLA this year. The Auburn line is eye-opening and feels like a little bit of a sucker line because Bo Nix won't be playing for Auburn there. So there's a lot of that one feels like a line that's out there to, I mean, as every line is, to draw as close to equal money on both sides as possible. That one seems like you're trying to draw more money in from one side.
Speaking of lines, Clemson is a 1.5-point dog against Iowa State, and the Gamecocks, that one has risen to 9.5 in favor of the Tar Heels. I think it was down to 7 or 7.5, and then it slowly bumped up, and I think got another bump on the heels of the Jason Brown news.
Yeah, and Akari, Brown, White.
Jaquandre White.
Yeah, that line's going to move.
Yeah, it's certainly moved. But certainly, look, I know that many of you don't think about it like you used to, and I'm the same way. You have so many opt-outs and things like that now. It just doesn't necessarily carry the weight that it used to carry. But I am excited for bowl season. I love bowl season. There's nothing else for me to watch on TV except for some hoops here and there, and I love the random Tuesday night, like the 27th or something of December, where you're all of a sudden you're seeing a pretty good college football game as we wind down the year. So there's just a couple of the notables that are out there. By the way, the final bowl game of the season that is not the national championship, of course, is Tuesday, January the 4th. The folks in Baton Rouge are like, oh my God, just end it. Nope. You got to wait till January the 4th, LSU and Kansas State and Houston, Texas.
And from today until then, there is a bowl game, at least one, every single day except on NFL Sundays. So bowl season starts, and it's full go except for NFL Sundays until January 4th.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, LSU's like, let's just play it now. Let's just move on. Nope. No. You got to get through the new year, guys. You got to get through.
Need more dancing locker room videos and then more games.
Yep, that's exactly right. All right, it's 11:35 a.m. on this Friday afternoon. Again, head to jbandgoldwatershow.com and you could submit and win a $100 gift card to Three Seeds Wellness Studios in West Ashley here in the Low Country. Our final time out of the work week. Our final time out on a Friday in 2021. The next 2 Fridays, Darren and I will be off with our families for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So we'll take this when we return. Perry Orth, he's going to pop in and talk about Spencer Rattler, the 5-star quarterback, now a Gamecock, right here on the JB and Goldwater Show.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right. We take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle, and we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity financed a new loan subject to lender approval.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work. And 2 others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
Motley Rice LLC is a law firm with international reach, but it hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for people harmed by products including asbestos and talc exposure. medical drugs and devices, and also catastrophic injuries and auto recalls, including dangerous Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. Visit motleyrice.com. Thank you, Motley Rice, for supporting the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
What's up, everybody? This is South Carolina singer-songwriter Patrick Davis, and I might live in Nashville, Tennessee now, but guess what? I can always keep up with the news back in South Carolina because I've got the JB and Goldwater Show. Thank you, JB and Darren, for being live, loud, and online.
Well, you're welcome, Patrick. Thank you. 11:39 here on this Friday afternoon, Friday morning on the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Yes, if you just happen to see us, generally we're 12 to 2. But again, Darren has been kind enough to rearrange his schedule for mine. Tonight will be the 23rd time that I will see Eric Church. So it's time to get on the road and go up and enjoy Greenville, South Carolina for an evening. This guy's enjoyed Greenville and pretty much everything in between. Perry Orth, former quarterback in South Carolina, is going to pop on and talk about, I don't know, maybe the newest commitment, or not the newest commitment, but one of the newest commitments to Carolina. That would be quarterback Spencer Rattler. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, we are going to chop it up.
So let me – I think Perry's a little hungover today. Everybody calm down. No, let me ask you this. Rattler, Stogner, does it remind you of Orth and Hurst?
Identical. Actually, we were a bit more dynamic, though. I'm just kidding.
I agree.
No, it's what a great pickup. I've been really busy at work. So I haven't been able to hang on one second.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Sorry, my phone was blowing up. No, I haven't been able to dive into all of the press conferences and everything, but I heard Coach Beamer talk a little bit about it, just kind of the story unfolding. And what a cool story. And shows you the relationship that a quarterback and a tight end can have. And the fact that Spencer came here committed without even stepping foot on campus, I think is pretty big time.
Yeah. It's this is a tremendous achievement for Shane Beamer and his staff. There's no question about that. Perry, I mean, we've watched this kid play for a couple of years. I mean, he popped onto the scene last year in college football. He was the front runner to win the Heisman Trophy. Entering the season, did have some issues early on getting things figured out, but his game is special. We've seen him play. We know what he looks like. And so describe that from your eyes as a former quarterback in the SEC and at South Carolina. What is so special about Spencer Rattler?
I just think it's the playmaking ability. It's his ability to improvise, his ability to throw the football down the field. One thing I will say that he'll need to work on is he did have a bit of the turnover bug, so cleaning some of that up. But I think another year of maturity is going to help. But yeah, I think he brings a dynamic that we just haven't had at quarterback in a long time. And I know that he's not a runner, but he has the ability to do that. But just his pure talent is going to allow us to do some things that we weren't able to do this past year. And I know that he'll be a good fit. Hopefully that he and his teammates can get along and everything works out. Like you'd hope. Sometimes these these transfers don't work out as great as you hope. But Coach Beamer's made it really obvious that he only brings kids in that fit the mold of the program that he wants to have. And if they appear to fit but they don't fit, they find themselves out the door. And I think that was pretty obvious with that kid that tried to pull a fast one on South Carolina over the weekend. But I'll tell you, I feel really confident about moving forward. I feel excited for Spencer and the new tight end, and those guys are hopefully going to be able to contribute. I mean, that's why you go out and you hit the portal. I know the transfer portal is a lot different than what we're used to in college football, but a team like a South Carolina, it's only going to help us because year in, year out, we're typically not going to recruit like in Alabama. But if we can go out and get older, experienced, talented players, it's only going to help our team.
No, I totally agree, Perry. When you get a quarterback like this, a young man who is exceptionally talented, who has not young, he's got a bunch of experience underneath his belt. He's dealt with a bunch of stardom. I mean, he was in that TV show. He's a Heisman guy. He's been on ESPN every night for 2 years, basically, or more than that. But when you get that total package, and I'm just talking strictly from being on the field, the play, the game itself, how much better do his teammates get because of him? I mean, we know at South Carolina there are some talented young men on the offensive side of the football. Marshawn Lloyd is definitely returning. Josh Vann appears to be. Jaheim Bell, guys like that. There's some great guys who've proven that they're pretty talented. But then there's some also guys who are a little unproven, and we just don't know much about them just yet. How much better could they get by bringing in a guy like Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, again, it's only going to help our entire program. When you have a high-profile guy like that the aura about him will kind of motivate you, or you hope it will. Then when receivers are catching balls that are thrown on the money and crazy plays are happening in practice, and Spencer is able to show off the skills that he does have, people get excited. And, when you have a really good QB, teams play better, and teams and teammates get excited. It's also going to help even more in recruiting, just to be able to say, like, hey, we've got a high-profile QB and an elite tight end coming in to help our offense. We're one piece away from really taking the next step as an offense. And, as a young football player, you'd think that, I would personally like to be, if Coach Beamer and his staff were telling me if I was a young receiver, you can come in and be that missing piece to kind of push us over the hump. It'd be hard to say no, especially knowing that I'd have a quarterback thrown to me for at least another year or two.
Perry Orth, quarterback at South Carolina, former quarterback. He could probably still play. 11:46 here on this Friday morning. All right, so I'm going to ask an unpopular question here. And this is not, Perry, you and I talk often, and you know that I have no interest in putting you in a tight situation. So I'm trying to educate myself and those that are in our audience. This year it was a struggle offensively. I mean, clearly. I mean, there were issues week to week, and we know what those issues are. We're not going to go back down that road. But I mean, how could if no other changes were made outside of just bringing in better players, how could some of those issues be resolved by bringing in a quarterback of this caliber?
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. Team, for whatever reason, and it really started to sink in when I was coaching, or when I started coaching, is how important the quarterback position is, and then how much everybody else looks to the quarterback, regardless if they're a vocal leader or not, or if they even deem themselves as a leader. Because you are the quarterback, because you touch the football every play, people look to you, for even advice for different things in life, just because of a position you play in the sport that you play. So it's pretty remarkable how people tend to follow people that play that position. So with that being said, when you have somebody that's talented like Spencer Rattler is, now you combine that with being a good person and caring about your teammates, the camaraderie within the locker room is going to be better than it would be if, they weren't as good of a player and if they weren't as good of a person. Now, one way you can completely cancel out his ability is if you come in and you're kind of you're a bad teammate. It's all about you and you're just trying to hit one stop before you go to the NFL. Or are you actually coming in to be the leader of a program that has a lot to prove and that's got a lot out there for him? That's one way that you can come in and cancel out the fact that you are ultra talented, is by being a jerk and have your teammates not care about you.
All right, so in addition to Spencer Rattler, Perry, they've brought in this Austin Stogner kid, and he is a man. He is 6'6", between 250 and 260 pounds. You know another guy that's similar to that, right? Is the Hayden Hurst kid. He turned out to be a pretty good player. I know he's one of your best friends. What did Hayden, when you looked out on the field and you were under center or you were in the shotgun and Hayden Hurst was out there. Describe Hayden Hurst. Not just, we all know he can catch the football. We all know that. He looks like a machine. I get that. But describe how that made you feel as a quarterback, knowing that he was out there, what he was capable of as a wide receiver, Perry, but everything else in his game that he was also very good at and very capable of doing, and how that affected the offense. I'm trying to learn that so we can understand what this young man, the dimension he could possibly be adding to this offense with his friend Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, sure-handed target. Man, I mean, just knowing, like, you know, whether Hayden was running a spot route or a drag or an in route, screen, you knew he was going to catch it, and you knew he was going to make yards after he caught it. I mean, even if somebody grabbed him, you know, I don't think I ever saw Hayden get hit and go backwards ever. He's just such a big dude that it would just take a ton of manpower to make him do that. And that's very similar to the kid we have now. And then, you know, with Hayden and I being as close as we were, you know, I think we were joking about it a couple of years ago when I was playing and he was out there. I think I targeted him an average of 9 times a game, even dating back to his freshman year. And it wasn't because I was like, oh, Hayden's my friend, I want to throw him the ball. It was, 1, Hayden's going to catch it, and 2, he's going to get positive yards once he does. And that's, I can guarantee you that's a similar relationship that these two have now. And if they're able to continue to do that, now my only, you know, not concern, but my only, I guess, hesitation is I want to see how we utilize them in the offense. We haven't seen that. I think that there were times we did see the tight ends get utilized, but it'll be interesting to see how we utilize this kid. Because, you know, Lincoln Riley is in a wide open offense, and it'll be intriguing to see how these guys work together here, because it is a completely different environment, different program. Everything's really different except for them two coming together. So it'll be exciting to see how we can tie that relationship together to make our team and our offense better.
Yeah, I agree totally, Perry. I mean, there still needs to be improvements. There is a game to play. Can't wait to watch them play the Tar Heels in the Mayo Bowl up there in Charlotte. But I mean, going into 2022, you're bringing in an elite quarterback. You've already discussed his game, what you like about his game. I mean, he's got it. Perry's got all the tools. And this young man that's coming with him, Austin Stogner, has all the tools. They're going to return at least one guy at tailback who's really, really good. And then they're going to return a couple of other wide receivers. Where are they deficient? I mean, if you it's too early to predict stuff. You were a college quarterback. You used to listen to jerks like me and others out there tell everybody how good you were going to be in December the year before, and you just sit there and laugh about it because nobody really knows. There's this whole thing called the transfer portal now. Nobody knows. But if I said, Perry, give this offense today, knowing now what's coming in, a kind of a grade of where they stand, but what they need to take the next step, maybe going from okay to good and then from good to really good. What is the next step in this offense? What are they missing in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, no matter what happens, we have to run the football consistency. I don't care who comes in at receiver or tight end or quarterback or running. We have to be able to run the football consistently, which is only going to help the pass game. I can assure you the defenses that both the quarterback and tight end played at Oklahoma are not the same defenses that they're getting ready to see week in and week out. I'm not saying they won't play as well. I'm just saying they're completely different. Defensive lines are more physical. They're faster. They're just more difficult to play. And if we can't run the ball, I don't care if you have Tom Brady at quarterback, you're not going to be successful or as successful as you can be. So if we can develop consistency in the run game, it's only going to help everybody do that. If we can do that, then that will allow Spencer Rattler to do what he does That is if he wins the job, which is run around, make plays, take shots down the field, be accurate, and again, kind of create a spark at that position that we haven't had in some time.
Great elite players attract elite players, and maybe now with these commitments for South Carolina and signees, others will be on the way. Kind of final quick one here, and then we'll wrap up with you over the next next couple of minutes, Perry, and let you go about your day. But you mentioned, I think you said something brilliant there that has really been glossed over by a lot of fans, and it shouldn't be. If Spencer Rattler wins the job, now there's a presumption that Spencer Rattler is going to come in and win the job pretty quickly. I mean, this cat is really good. A kid that you know incredibly well, he is an incredible young man, is Luke Doty, who's been in the Gamecock football program for a couple of years. He's very talented. Last year, he was a wide receiver, moved back to quarterback. This year, gets hurt, comes in, plays hurt, can't finish the year. He's not had a consistent year at all. So the competition brings out the best in everybody, hopefully. Right, Perry? What's so great about this for Luke Doty? How does this benefit him as a football player?
Well, everything that he does now moving forward, he can carry a chip on his shoulder and be the best teammate he can be the best football player he can be, outwork everybody, spend more time doing it, care more about it. There's no difference than when I was coming up, being a walk-on, being somebody that the coaches realistically probably weren't expecting to, be the starting quarterback one day. But here's the fact: is what if Spencer comes in and is the guy? He's the guy through 1 week of camp, and then look, your starting quarterback broke his foot. He's out for the first 5 weeks or maybe the season. Just like what happened to us this year. Next thing you know, here's Luke, comes in, plays his mind out, and you're not going to turn away from that. I've been watching the Man in the Arena with Tom Brady, and I know there's only one Tom Brady, but you got to use the example of, he's on a team with Drew Bledsoe, an all-pro quarterback, and Drew goes out, Tom goes in, starts dominating. Drew comes back in 6-7 weeks, and, man, they're rolling with Tom. And that's just how it goes. So the advice I would give to Luke and any other young quarterback on the roster is, guys, one, you don't know if this kid's going to be the starter. Two, if he is and he comes in and does win the job, you don't know when your time and when your number is going to be called. He might go out, win the job flat out, and not play well in the games and realize that, oh my gosh, playing between the hedges is a lot different than, playing a Baylor defense. I'm not saying Baylor's bad, and their defense was actually pretty fire this year, but you get what I'm saying.
That's it. Well done there, pal.
Bad example. But you know what I'm saying.
Kansas.
I went blank on the Big 12 teams. I don't want to. For some reason, I wanted to go right to Iowa State and just rip them to pieces, but I can't do my boy Zeb like that. So
no.
But no, they. But you know what I'm saying.
I do. Yeah.
So there's so much that goes into it, man. Besides just kids transferring in and oh well, now I'm just assuming I'm going to be the backup. Well, you might be, but we don't know. I mean, he might care. He might come to South Carolina and be like, man, the girls here in South Carolina are a heck of a lot prettier than they are in Oklahoma and care more about girls than football. So, I mean, guys, there's so much that can happen between now and next fall that it's hard to get. I'll say this and I'll stop. I am one of those Gamecock fans when things are bad, I don't see them as bad as everybody else. When things seem to be really good, I don't see them as really good as everybody else. I'm more of a mellow-toned fan. That's why when I get on your show and we're not playing well, I don't freak out or rip the team or do anything like that, because there's always good in the bad. And then when we play well, I'm like, hey, listen, like I said when we beat Florida, we handled Florida and it was a huge win. But let's not lose our minds here that we're gonna, finish out like gangbusters. And I hope that we did, but we can't take and lose our stuff game by game or player by player, recruit by recruit. It's got to be more of a level-headed I want to see consistency in performance. And, we got a great opportunity to do that in the bowl game and go out, recruit, and get good players, and keep moving this train along. Keep moving the Shane train along.
It's almost like you've been there before, Perry. I feel like you've maybe played the game and you have something about you that qualifies you to, have a level head. It's amazing. Perry, before we let you run, I want to remind you, I didn't realize it, but they're all worth mentioning. This is one of the best national days of the year. Oh. It's National Wright Brothers Day. Yeah. Orville and Wilbur.
You should fly to the Eric Church concert in their honor.
Well, for those that don't understand this, when you're a member of the church choir, one of the magic powers that you get is when you turn on the song Talladega, you can drive about 200 miles in 30 minutes.
My bad.
So I'm looking forward to that. But it's Wright Brothers Day, so celebrate all those in flight. It is National Underdog Day, and we just got done talking about Luke Doty, so go Luke. It's National Maple Syrup Day, just like Elf. You put maple syrup on everything, even spaghetti. And it's National Ugly Christmas Sweater Day. And last I checked, Perry wears those generally year-round anyway. So, Perry, it's a great day to celebrate, my friend.
Well, I appreciate you letting me know, and I'm glad now I can celebrate it.
Yeah, you and your wife, y'all, go get you some ugly sweaters. Perry, I'm sure I'll chat with you at some point in time in the next few days. But it's your first year as a married man spending Christmas with your wife. That's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for what you've done for us throughout the entire year. Obviously, in football season, you're a great, great dude, and I wish you and your entire family the merriest of Christmases, my friend.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, and appreciate you having me on as always. I hope both of you guys have a Merry Christmas.
And next Christmas, I hope you're celebrating Christmas with twin-year-old little girls. On that note, take care.
Yeah, I will reject that.
Let me tell you something. You don't choose them; they choose you, pal. You'll figure it out.
Hey, no doubt. No doubt.
See ya,
man.
There you go, Perry Orth, quarterback in Carolina. Thank the good Lord, Pete. The Chief will take us home and on the road. Darren, I will see you Monday.
Yep.
And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and make a lot of money on your bowl bets.
I don't bet a lot of money, so I don't make a lot. And conveniently, I don't lose a lot when I lose.
That's good. Well, then I'll definitely see you Monday.
Yeah, no, I'll be here.
Means Heather has not killed you. Thanks to Perry and thanks to all of you. What a great week it's been. We really can't wait to see you again Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll see you after the new year. Have a wonderful weekend. And those of you at the Chief concert tonight, say hello. Take care.
Put a drink in my